We are live. What a way to start a live. Actually, might be my signature thing going on from now on. But sorry if my voice sounds kind of weird. I don't know. Like my throat's been kind of doing weird stuff. But we got the clear American, and I might look tired too. It's because I am. I don't know why. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So good. But a couple days of work left. Packed half my stuff. Last day of work is Thursday, then Friday, pretty much all day I'm cleaning and packing my apartment. Heading out Saturday for Colorado, hanging out with my brother for a little bit. Later tonight, yeah, I actually call my other brother because he lives in Colorado too, just a different part. Let him know I'm gonna be in town. Tastes so good. Anyway, topic of the night. All right, I'm streaming YouTube live. For any of you that are interested, I'm always willing to do. Last time I was a little bit feeling a little bit sick, so I'm obviously a lot better now, even though maybe my countenance may not show it. I'm good. I'm energetic and I'm ready to go. I will be doing a Q&A afterwards for anyone that's interested, but obviously only if anyone actually shows up. But if anyone has any questions, like I said, always in the comment section, shoot me a DM. Always more than happy to answer any of y'all's questions, especially when it comes to money, because a lot of people don't really know about this stuff. I didn't know about it for a long time. Learned it in school, talking to people, just life. But it's very valuable, and I think people need to know this. If you're 18, this is the perfect opportunity and the perfect time to start learning this stuff. To be honest, I wish I learned it when I was 18. Luckily, I did open a credit card when I was 18 when I left for college. But let's go ahead and hop into the topic of the night: why you should never be using a debit card, and if you are using a debit card, to stop using it, start using credit cards. Now, I know this is a big debate, and people talk about all the time, especially Dave Ramsey. He's literally the face. I love Dave Ramsey. He has very good advice for getting out of debt, investing in the terms of indexing and total market investing, dollar cost averaging over decades. You are proven to be a millionaire at the end of doing all that stuff. But when it comes to credit cards, now his audience is people in debt, people trying to go through his baby steps of what he's telling them to do to get out of debt. If you're in debt, yeah, you probably shouldn't be using a credit card. And I'm talking consumer debt. So I'm not talking about if you have a mortgage. I'm talking even to an extent, depending on what your car rate and car loan's at, that could also be considered consumer debt if, say, you're, I see this all the time. You're 20 years old and you have 10K or whatever you saved up, and you're like, oh, I want to buy a sick like Mustang or sick Camaro. You spend 30 40 G's on a sick car, and now you owe the dealership or you owe a bank or you owe someone 30 or 40K that you're probably paying off over the course of like 5 or 6 years, and you paying 8%, 9%, 10% interest on that. No bueno, don't do that. That's consumer debt. No, I'm talking credit card debt as well. If you just have a bunch of credit card debt and you're paying interest, you're paying probably 20, 25, 26, maybe even 28, 30% interest on that. Not good. Then you shouldn't be using a credit card. But for the average person, you're probably not in debt. If you're 18, you don't spend money on anything really. Just don't spend your money on stupid stuff. Which actually that might be a topic for another live, but other than that, for the outliers, don't use a credit card. For the average person, 100% use a credit card. I will talk about the reasons why and why you should not use a debit card. All right, what's the difference between a debit card and a credit card? Now, debit card obviously says debit, credit. If any of you are familiar with accounting, it actually has nothing to do with the accounting debits and credits, ironically. But debit card is typically a card that is issued when you open a bank account with whoever. So let's just say I open a Chase account I bank with Chase or whatever, and they give me a debit card associated with a checking account. So I'm able to say I've put $5,000 in there with that debit card. I'm able to spend the money in my bank account. So pretty self-explanatory. It's just an extension. It's a convenient way of spending money that's in your bank account without having to pull out cash and then spend it that way. That's a debit card. Now, a credit card it can be through banks, it can be through different vendors. I'm sure everyone sees like Costco cards and Amazon cards, and basically every department store has a credit card. Most of them are useless and a waste of money because they charge an annual fee and they promote you spending more on consumer stuff, which there's a time and place for that. But generally speaking, they're not really worth it. But a credit card is you basically, the company that issued that credit card is allowing you to spend their money. That's the credit. You're taking credit from them, spending it on whatever your daily purchases are, or whatever you're spending your money on. And then at the end of every month, you typically receive a statement. And that statement you should pay off every single month is basically for that past month's transactions. Now, there's very dangerous slippery slope, which most of you know, that you can pay a minimum payment of like $25 or $15 or whatever it is, or you can not pay the whole balance. That is not very smart because you know what happens after that? They charge you the interest. Now, for the first year or so, most credit cards, if you just open them, they'll usually do like a starting APR, annualized percentage rate of 0% for the first 6 months or for the first year or whatever. I was like, all right. I still wouldn't recommend doing that just because you'll just rack up a bunch of money that you're eventually gonna have to pay off anyway. So pay your statements off every single month, clear as mud. But that's credit card. So you're borrowing credit from whoever issued the credit card, and you basically promise to pay it back at the end of every month. So it is useful. It is very useful for sure. Now, why would you use a credit card instead of a debit card? And what actually are uses for a debit card? So debit card is basically like you're using cash from your bank account, just in a more convenient way where you can do electronic purchases. The only useful thing a credit card or debit card is for pulling out cash from an ATM or a bank. That's literally I see the only use for. You can't do that you can't do that with a credit card, but they'll usually charge you money if you try to take cash out with a credit card. So use your debit card for that. That's the only really use I see for using a debit card. Because all the other reasons, you can use a credit card and you can be benefiting from it as well. So only use case for a debit card, pulling cash out from a bank or ATM. Now, there are some stores that are like debit only. Honestly, I don't really shop at those stores because defeats the whole purpose. They say, and that's true, because credit cards, you typically, let's just say a grocery store, they have to pay those credit card vendors, say Visa or MasterCard, or the payment processing companies, a certain percentage of each of the transactions that go through. That's how these credit card companies credit card processors make money. They earn a percentage off of every single transaction that happens all around the world. So you might see some grocery stores that are debit card only. I don't shop at those places because I can't use my credit card, and I never carry my debit card around. And yeah, there might be lower prices there for sure. Like if you have a big family, then you can weigh it out. But for the most part, you can find just as cheap options, if not pretty close to cheap. And let's just say you have a cashback card, and I'll go over all this stuff a little bit later, maybe even a later live, specifically cashback, travel cards, specific credit cards for specific uses. But I would recommend just using a credit card for everything. Kind of avoid those stores that only use debit, even though it might be a little bit cheaper, because you could be losing out because credit cards, they have perks. So the reasons why you should use a credit card: number one, if you saw my men's value tip, it's literally a sneak peek into what I'm talking about tonight. I'm going to go into a little bit more depth, but I'm going to hit all of those points. First one, most important one, building credit. Now, why do you want to build credit? Think about it. One day you're probably going to buy a car that most people they can't pay cash for a car. I would recommend paying cash for a car, but there are instances. For example, myself, I'm definitely in the market for a new car, and car prices are very expensive right now. And I am pretty close actually to paying cash, completely cash for a car, but there are benefits for taking out a car loan and financing a car at least a little bit as well. So, in the event, most people don't have, say, even if you buy a brand new car or you just buy a car nowadays, it's going to be anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 even for a used car. Then that's on the low end. Most people don't have that in cash. So, you put some money down and you're able to finance the car. But basically, what credit does, or good credit score does, over time, you build credit, you show people that you can pay off your debts and you can pay off the credit that you're using in a responsible manner. You always pay on time, you always pay the full balance, and you don't overspend more than your credit limit or even towards the max of your credit limit. There's a specific percentage that's ideal of the credit limit to use. Then they'll rank you with a high credit score. And I'll probably do a live on completely how to build up credit, what credit is, what's good credit, what's bad credit, tips and tricks to get rid of stuff that's kind of lowering your credit score, doing stuff to bump up your credit score type of a thing. But the better credit score you have, the better credit you have, the better interest rates you're going to get. And that will determine what your payments are going to be. So, if you can get a lower rate because you've proven yourself that you have better credit and you can pay back stuff and you're responsible, then you're going to end up spending less money in the long run. So that means more money in your pocket to invest or do whatever you want with. So that's number one, building credit. And that's the easiest way and the starting way to build credit is to open up a credit card and to occasionally use it. So for whoever is 18, recommend you because that's typically the age you can get a credit card. I know there are other credit cards where your parents can open and they can put you on there and earn credit. I'm not super well versed just because those are relatively new, but that's worth looking into. I'll probably look into that as well for possibly my kids. But at the earliest, I'd say in the simplest way is when you're 18, open up a basic credit card. You're going to get a crap credit card. You're not going to be able to really earn any rewards or points from it whatsoever just because you have no proof and you have no history of credit in the first place. But it's essentially just to open the account. That way you can start utilizing credit and showing that you can pay it off. So build credit. That's number one. Number two, you can literally earn money, which is called cashback, and you can earn rewards, possibly money that you can use towards trips, points you can use towards restaurants, points you can even use to decrease your credit card statement. That way you don't, instead of paying $750, you can maybe bump that down to $500 depending on how many points you can do and what the redemption value is. But you can literally, just by spending money, now don't get the wrong idea by this, that doesn't warrant, and I'm not recommending you spend a bunch of money to earn these points for the sake of earning the points and just spending if it doesn't make sense in spending the money. But if you're going to make a lot of these purchases anyway, then it makes sense that you can earn cash back and you can earn rewards to apply. If you really like to travel, I've known many friends that have paid for trips based off of just purchases from their credit card. And it's pretty big trips too. Not only trips, but whole plane tickets to international places, different countries, and then even get their hotels and their excursions paid for. If you're smart and you know what you're doing and you do the research, I'm a big proponent of doing your own research, then there are added benefits for just daily, everyday spending you're going to do anyway if you were to say use cash or use your debit card. So you can earn cash back rewards, and specifically when you open credit cards, obviously when you're 18 you just have your crap student credit card It's not going to be any rewards. There's no bonuses typically for spending a certain amount. But once you start gaining credit, you building your credit score, you have increased credit limits. I'm looking at travel credit cards right now just because I'm graduated. I'm going to be making a ton more money than I've been in the past couple years, and there's a couple places that I want to travel to and travel with friends, travel with family, to go visit people and stuff. So that's going to be stuff I'm naturally going to spend anyway. So there are a lot of really good bonuses for opening up a credit card, whether it's just a normal cashback card or even a travel credit card or another credit card for some other niche. That if you spend X amount of dollars within X amount of time, then they'll give you $500, they'll give you $1,000, they'll apply $750 in travel credit to you, type of a thing. So if you're going to be spending the money anyway, this is the whole ideology. Don't spend more money in order to earn these points and earn these bonuses. But if you're going to spend the money already, then you might as well utilize a credit card and earn money back. That's my point. All right, number 3, better protection from fraud. So, like I said, if you listen to my men's value tip, if you actually use a debit card, it's basically using your cash in your bank account. So imagine if someone steals that debit card or steals the information from that debit card, they have access to all your cash. Now that's really scary. That's why I don't really like using debit cards that much. Because think about it, you make lots of purchases all the time, especially online purchases. Credit cards are so much safer just because of that potential for fraud. Because if someone steals your debit card, yes, you can cancel it, but most of the time you don't know if someone stole your information or stole your card info or whatever until after they make their own fraudulent purchases on it. And it can take a while for you to get your money back, because that's literally money, cash from your bank account. Say someone stole your information and purchased something in India for $500 or say $5,000. It can take a number of days, a number of weeks, possibly months for them to investigate and to get that money back to you. And that's not good, because think about it. You have bills to pay, you have stuff to do that requires money. If you just have $5,000 gone from your bank account, that's not good. It's a waste of money, and you might not be able to pay your bills. It's not good. Whereas if you're using a credit card, then there might be a little bit of a penalty for fraudulent activity. It's usually up to like $50, especially if you act on it pretty quick. Even if they spend 5,000, couple thousand, couple $100, and you catch it and you report it to your credit card company, hey, this wasn't me, credit card info must have gotten stolen, I want to cancel the card, and report this transaction of a couple $1,000s as fraudulent activity. Because it's a credit card and it's not cash, your own cold, hard-earned cash, then they'll just wipe it from your statement. You don't have to pay it just because it's fraudulent activity. Now, actually, it has to be fraudulent activity. You can't just buy something and be like, oh, it wasn't me. Yeah, don't do that. But if someone actually stole your credit card or stole your info and purchased something from it, you're not liable to pay that. And yeah, you might pay a little bit of a fee for losing it or whatever. That is definitely a possibility, but that's minuscule compared to you losing out on hundreds or thousands of dollars of your own bank account cash. So better protection from fraud. So you can use your credit card, online transactions, whatever, so much better fraud protection. And even with the credit cards themselves, because it's in the credit card company's best interest to make sure fraud doesn't happen. So they'll even add added benefits and added fraud protection on top of their credit card users just because they want to prevent that so much. So better fraud protection definitely outweighs using a debit card. Also, another way, it can help track your spending. Now, I'm a big proponent of tracking spending, making sure you track all of your expenses, track all of your income, keep a budget. That way you know kind of where your financial health is, as your cash flow and all that kind of stuff. But ingrained in a lot of the credit card portals that you log into to monitor and pay your credit cards, it gives you good visuals, good data on how you're spending money. So it can tell you, hey, you spent X amount of dollars on restaurants this past month. Hey, this month you actually spent $200 more in restaurants or whatever. So it gives you alerts, gives you data that you can use. Now I typically take all my transactions and put it into my own data analysis models and trackers and stuff like that. So I can see most of that stuff. But the visuals are really nice and it's a good way to track your spending. Debit cards, like typical bank statements, and they don't track that stuff for you, unfortunately. Now there might be some that do, but credit cards definitely on the other end are big on this. So you can it helps track your spending. So if you want those visuals, if you want to, maybe you're not very good at tracking that stuff, you can literally open up your app and then it'll track stuff for you. So that's another benefit of using a credit card. Ironically, helps track your spending because people think credit cards you can overspend on and be more responsible spending. And one of the last ones, and this will actually be the last one, unless anyone has any extra questions, but spending power. Now, the benefit of this spending power grace period, and I would say specifically this, I would utilize this for businesses. Having a credit card for businesses is really nice for all the things I mentioned above, plus this, especially if, because cash is very important in a business specifically. But there's this grace period. So, for example, say I open up a credit card at the beginning of August, I won't have to pay my transactions in August until the next month after. So typically statements come, my current credit card, it comes out 25th of every month. So let's just say I opened one up today. So today's July 25th and I make purchases. I won't have to make any of those or pay off any of those purchases until August 25th. So that's what what they call a grace period. So it's nice because cash, from a cash perspective, you don't have to, if you're using debit and making these purchases on a debit card, then that's cash gone from your account already. Versus put on a credit card, you don't have to pay that stuff off until the next month. So it's good for a cash flow perspective. You do have to monitor it. You do have to be careful just because you don't want to spend all your cash and then at the end of the month when you got to pay your statement, you don't have any cash on you. That's not the purpose of it. But especially for businesses, say you have a business and you're not expecting a payment or to get paid until, let's just say, the middle of next month, so August 15th, then you don't have to worry. You can keep making your purchases even though you don't have cash, but you know that you're going to receive cash shortly in the future and then definitely before you have to pay off your statement. So you can still pay people, you can still make necessary transactions and purchases for your business in order to keep growing it and to keep making more money without having to hinder the business because you're might be a little bit low on cash. So spending power, the grace period, and it's also beneficial. It's always time value money, right? TMV if you've taken any finance classes, but the more you can delay using your cash, the better, because then you can use that cash to invest in stuff or to put towards stuff that can earn you a good return, and then you can eventually pay that stuff off whenever those payments are due. But the key caveat is you have to pay your statement every month. I will say that till I'm blue in the face. Pay your statement every month, full balance. Pay your full balance every single month, or else you'll pay interest and you'll get dinged on your credit. That stuff goes on there. So that's kind of the gist. Tonight's show actually might be a little bit short. Not a ton of people on. Let me see if there's that many people on live on YouTube. Nope. So we're good. But if anyone has any questions, those are the benefits. Do not use a debit card unless you're pulling out cash from an ATM or a bank. Do not use a debit card. Use a credit card. In the future, I would love to do different analysis on different types of credit cards. What are good cashback credit cards? What are good travel credit cards? I've been doing a lot of research on that myself because I'm in the market for a good travel credit card. And I've been talking to a lot of people. There's one guy my brother-in-law hooked me up with. He's like the credit card points rewards master. So I think it's awesome. But just learning how you can, these different hacks and stuff that you can utilize to ultimately get your dollar, get your money to stretch out the most it can and get the most value out of your dollars. Because, like I said, if you're going to spend the money anyway, might as well figure out what hacks and how you can earn rewards and cash back on stuff like this. And when people say, especially Dave Ramsey, they'll be like, well, you don't want to be the person you're going to end up paying the credit cards money. This is how the credit cards make money. They want you to spend money, and they give these rewards or propose these rewards, offer these rewards to as an incentive for you to get into debt and stuff like that. That's only for the people that cannot pay off the credit card statements in full every single month. So don't be those people. Those are the dumb people that the credit cards make money off of. And that's fine. They can keep doing it, but I'm doing the show, spreading this knowledge, and this is very valuable knowledge as well. That way you don't have to be that person. Don't be that person. I've never been late on a payment. You can look at my Credit Karma, my credit history. Never been late on a payment. Never. Actually, one time I had one in collection because I paid it, but then they marked it didn't pay it for some reason. Either that or like something went up with my credit card. But I got that wiped off. So I'm clean as a whistle. No collections. 100% payment history. And I've never paid a single cent in interest either. So let's just say the facts. And I've been doing this I've had a credit card open for seven plus years. So I mean, I think I'm doing pretty well. I think I have some credibility behind that. But next live, probably do it. Yeah, I'll definitely do it next Thursday. I'm gonna head out on Saturday. So Thursday, hopefully it's a good one. I plan on talking about TRT and why guys, especially young guys in their 20s, even in their 30s, should not take TRT, despite what all the gym bros at your local gym say, what all the YouTube gurus say, what all these TikTok influencers say. Don't do it. And I'll go over the reasons why. I even might have a guest. My mom is very, ironically, I was thinking of her just because she is very prevalent in the medical field. She's been in the medical field for decades, and she knows what certain substances do to the human body. And so she's very, very credible when it comes to that. Currently, she works with a lot of cancer patients, so she definitely knows how the human body works. So I might invite her. Who knows? I'll talk with her about that. But that's the plan on the next show. But if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Shoot me a DM. Keep watching my men's value tips. Keep watching the live streams. I'm trying to up the quality a little bit. Like I said, it's been crazy being sick, packing up, and just trying to get through work. I'm hitting the wall, but it will be good to. I'm sad. It's tough leaving Utah. I met up with a couple friends the other day, and it'll be sad, but I'll come visit. And I'm excited for this new part of life I get to embark on, and this new career path as well. And yeah, sky's the limit. I'm excited. All right. As with everything, trying to help you guys get stronger, smarter, healthier, wealthier. So go ahead, follow for more tips, follow for more lives, follow for more valuable content. Peace. Catch y'all later.